Oh, Saturday, June 6th. No one really knows for sure. Other claim this is sort of the guy. 3661 creation of the Lord, birth of Adam and Eve. Parallel. 3631 136, son of Adam was born. 3526 235, Enosh, son of Seth was born. 3436 325, son of Enosh was born. 36 395, Mahalalel, son of Kenan was born. 3301 460, Jared, son of Mahalalel was born. 3139 622, Shana, son of Jared was born. 3074 687, Methuselah, son of Hanok was born. 2887 874, Lamech, 2, son of Methuselah was born.
what we have is a theological shift, how the ancient Israelites understood their relationship. For the older, more perfect like part of the bargain, like out. They weren't all white. And that's a theological problem, right? We have a I remember my mom sometimes telling me, I'll put you into this world, I'll take you out of it. And then I did something bad. You just take me out of it. I'm like, I told you, Mom. I don't recommend you do that. But well, that kind of happens in your life, right? God said, look, I brought you into this world, I'll take you out of it. And God is theological with that. What is happening and what is emerging is a new kind of theology and a new kind of interaction. And so rather than like morally to profit, we have this shit where rather than making morally right will pass, God communicating spiritually, right? God is showing his kind of thing. God is showing Israel set the plan. That everything happening is planned. There is a reason why you're suffering the way that you're suffering. There's a reason why wicked people seem to triumph. The reason why you've been returned to your homeland after being conquered by the Babylon. The reason why the Romans, you had independence for a while, and now the Romans have conquered. Why is all this happening? So for the apocalypse of this, there is a plan. Typically, right, another thing the apocalypse also deals in is things like cosmology, right, the structure of the universe, history, why the universe came into being at all. What they're often really interested in is the origin of evil. Why? Because they're enduring a lot of evil. So they really focus on where it came from and how evil emerged. There's a lot of different competing theories in ancient Israelite literature about the origins of evil. Some of those have to do with talking snakes, special pardon, and some of those have to do with angels found to make with women and teaching human beings all kinds of bad things. There are several competing theories about the origin of evil. And of course, also apocalypticism is at least vaguely interested in the future, right? At least vaguely interested in the future, not in the way that perhaps we are now. If you're curious, in religious debates, we have a whole different term for studying the future end of the world, eschatology, from the Greek eschaton, which means the final things. But not all apocalypticism is eschatology, but all eschatology is from apocalypse, right? Those are slightly different categories. Talk more about eschatology. As I mentioned last time, there is a massive amount of apocalyptic literature. I think that if I skip back just a couple slides, right, Megan, remember here on the page, there's just a library of apocalyptic literature that gets developed, some of which occurs in the Hebrew Bible, most of which does not, right? And then, of course, we also have and Islamic apocalyptic literature. This is a vast amount of literature. And I think, as I mentioned, if you were to take the apocalyptic literature or the actual surviving literature of the Hebrew Bible, there's almost just as much apocalyptic literature as there is other material in the Hebrew Bible. So it is a treasure trove of material, most of which I think most people have never read. Much of which was lost for a long period of time, actually. Of course, the most famous pieces of apocalyptic literature are the books of Daniel 7 through 11. It's the book of the Locust, classic of the genre. It really sets the stage for the genre. But of course, also it's the book of Enoch. Of course, the book of Enoch, as you may know, isn't actually one book. It's about 5 different books stitched together, and there's various kinds of Enochian stuff in there. And in addition to that, there is one book of Enoch. There's 3, right? First, second, and third Enoch. So, the Enoch literature alone, first Enoch, I think comprises almost 100 chapters. It is a massive book. So Enoch is a terrible large volume, and of course, third Enoch are also part of that literature as well. So even the Enoch literature is itself really vast. You get down into reading it and studying it. And of course, the apocalyptic literature is marked by an intense use of symbolic visions, and it heavily features what we call prophecy, which is where you describe the current situation in a coded language as it is going to occur in the future. Now, this has led to a lot of confusion, right? Because when you read the book of Daniel, many people now read the book of Daniel as predicting the future, right? This is going to describe the coming war with Russia or China or something. But the reality is, it actually describes the Persians, the Romans. It describe what's going on in their time period. And so, and there's like a lot of confusion. And in many ways, the entire Christian evangelical world has been sent the idea that things put in the Bible. And, well, the truth of the matter is that these writers are describing something in the day as if it's going to happen in the future. And so that's to, again, a entire genre of theology. What is not just in time theology, in time research, logical research, but the original message of that literature was not about the end of the world. It was about criticizing the conditions of the ground. You may, in some sense, think of some apocalyptic literature as having a kind of social bent or being a kind of critical literature, in a sense of literary, in a sense of social criticism, except for it's happening at a much different register and happening at a much different register. Now, all right, so as I mentioned, kind of literature, apocalyptic literature a great deal of development in Christianity and Islam. In fact, one might describe Christianity as a kind of independent, right? It gets God is big lofty and shot off the apocalyptic theism, organized forms of apocalyptic theism, perhaps to the Christian would be the Essene apocalyptic theism. They were probably wiped out during the Great Revolt. In fact, you see this described how they marched up to battle, massacred, and a couple of different they were counted. So, right, one of the things that's worth pointing out here is that them did not prove popular in rabbinic circles. So we'll get to that. So why that is, and how apocalyptic is described in Judaism, how it is. And part of what's going on here is rabbis have a very.
I'm just chilling. How about you, big dog?
Is survival. Their job is to make Judaism work after the aftermath.
I'm listening to a podcast. Feel free to listen. It's on Kabbalah. It's called Esotericism with a Professor, and I listen to it just about every day. Feel free to listen.
show up us, but they might be very common in ancient Israelite, in like world. Now, what's going to change, right? What's going to change? Contact with God is God to, right? God revealing things to you. What's going to change in the apocalyptic book of Judaism? We're going to know God's going to take you up into the heavens. Angels going to escort you into the heavens. Show you around the heaven, show you around the cosmos, show you around the throne of God, show you the underworld even right now. So the shift in the apocalyptic, as God is showing you, right, you go to God. And that motion where rather than prophecy is old things, passive reporting it, rather than go on journeys, that's going to be the big shift in the apocalyptic liturgy. The main two events that happened in the literature and biblical literature are Isaiah and those two theophany of Isaiah and Isaiah 6, the theophany and Ezekiel are going to be the big prototypes for how this is going to go down. But I should also mention, by the way, that the angels or the various other supernatural beings are often seen by the apocalyptic or the prophet are not the angels that you're probably used to. I know most of you probably have in mind the more Renaissance version of them. That is to say, it's roughly humanoid, alien creature with wings, right? Sometimes wings, typically the way it's described in Isaiah. Vision, these beings nothing like wheels, covered in eyes, that moving around each other in weird ways, or something. There are other creatures that sort of stiff-legged, have various kinds of wings, the heads of various kinds of animals. Very, very unusual creatures, and they often get strange names like the coyotes, right? Ones that are alive, or the beings, or the Ophanim, name of the wheel-shaped ones. So, biblical angels, supernatural creatures, very unlike the cherubic angels that you may have seen adorning paintings of Renaissance. Biblical angels don't really appear like that. What's important about the apocalyptic is also what's looking at it from Isaiah and eventually into Enoch, where they're going to be visions of the throne of God. They're going to be taken to the reality, which is God's throne room. It's going to be shown to yourself the throne of God. Well, the throne of God, you can't just kind of go and a field like Maynard thing, right? You can't get, well, you can't travel, right? And the way that you travel, typically, if you travel up with spheres of the heavens, I typically thought of as being 8 spheres of the heavens, and all of these spheres are inhabited by all kinds of supernatural creatures, angels, and otherwise, even in these spheres, usually you're given access to the palace where God lives. You're given access to a vision of the throne of God. The first thing that happened was the literature with Enoch was famous because Enoch never died. The Bible records that Enoch walked with God and God drew Enoch away. Right? So Enoch is one of the few people in the Hebrew Bible that has never been died. Of course, Enoch along with Elijah or a few different that perhaps died. So what is happening, right, is that the structure of the cosmos is really. You may remember from the first lecture, right, when I described the cosmos, what we have is dome, right, and that dome is full of water, right, and rains down, hails down, or rains down, right, and God is above that dome. Well, what is happening after Israelites come in contact with the Persians and the Greeks, especially in the Persians, become much more robust of how the cosmos works, as they're going to invent astrology. Right, beginning with the moon, all the way up to the planets, right? And the universe is much. And of course, it's moving around, right? Moving through something. Are they moving? Debate about it. Also, the line is weird. There's a lot of debate about what's going on. The most important thing here is that the Israelites are going to be a quasi-Hellenistic, quasi-Persian always ask other people, is it possible for someone else to make this consent, or a complicated term, assent here in Christianity? And what's shocking is that yes, they say, yeah, you can go into the heavens and see the throne of God if you make the consent. Very, not just can you, but I've done it. I can teach you how to do it. And that's where we move out of the apocalyptic mode. Apocalyptic mode is revealing, but Enoch experienced a mystical practice whereby you, or at least some rabbis, can do this themselves. Notice that difference, right? One is literature, the other is mystical practice. And so the of mysticism that begins to emerge in the Persian and then the Hellenistic period, right? Beginning at the very earliest century BCE, but by the first century, beginning to reach beginning to appear, and of course by the second century is reaching it, the second century of the Common Era, from reaching it. We typically now refer to this literature, and many of the medieval Jewish folks in the Talmudic period do as well, refer to this as Maaseh. But typically, we can mean something of the Jewish. Notice the word Maaseh in Hebrew has a sense of you doing something, right? You're not reading about it. You're not reading Enoch. You're trying the journey that Enoch did. And here is a practical form of spiritual. Now, kind of literature typically referred by two different names, but it always refers basically to the same kind of. One form of mysticism we refer to it as Merkabah literature. The word Merkabah is a Hebrew word meaning a chariot. And the reason thrown is typically imagined to be a kind of winged chariot, right? All the way back to that Persian coin. Let me find the remember this coin I showed you guys a couple weeks ago, right? Means that this is probably Yahweh, right? Notice what Yahweh is riding upon. It's a chariot, right? Right? And it has a wing, right? It's not being pulled by horses or whatever. It's a merciless chariot, right? That as or whatever, right? Anyway, God's being pulled on a chariot here, right? And this is a winged chariot. Notice it's also God's throne. So when they start about mysticism, what we mean these mystics are taking to go into the throne of God and have a vision of the divine chariot, which is also God's throne. What you mean is the throne is also a chariot around us. The other thing for this woman is Hesel, but it can also be a palace. And so the Hesel literature is on journeying the nation, right? It's all about which one you want to focus on. The nation, throne of God, or the journey, palace of God. And what we get in literature, is very complicated description of the various chambers or palaces that are that the mystic must go through in order to use the throne of God. Again, imagine this is a king living in a kind of palace. Well, you just don't go in one room. God doesn't live in a one-room of Brooklyn, right? God lives in a big, complicated palace. You have to go from the outer layers of the palace, inner, until you reach the innermost layer of the kingdom, where God's throne is. You have to pass through these palaces now. That's not easy. And the reason why it's not easy is that these palaces are occupied by all kinds of angelic beings who don't want you. Who do not want you there. You're not supposed to be there. It's the sacred, divine realm where the beings or whatever should be hanging out here. And so the palace literature is that these very hostile, military-like angels have various kinds of ways of making don't pass through the various palaces without very complicated passwords, without sealed, sealed, would be represented often by various kinds of divine names for these angels. And also, you need to know the various names of the angels in order to attend properly. You have to know their name, know their seal, you have to know all kinds of things in order to bypass these various kinds of angels, like codes almost. So you need to know that information, otherwise the angels will kill you. In fact, there are even things in the literature where the texts say, no, this is the wrong passcode. Like, this passcode is not the right passcode. This is incorrect. I went in there and I said that passcode, and they almost there's a famous line in Hello Rabbi Pete, where one of the rabbis, that angel almost shook me like a piece of wheat, right? So there's the idea that they can kill you. Of course, the ascent, right, ultimately results in the vision of the divine throne, results in kind of experience. These studies that are all put into poetry that written during the American literature. And what's even more fascinating, where it gets incredibly controversial, as you might imagine, you can sit on the divine throne. There's a couple of instances where people sit on the divine throne and they are transformed into angelic-like beings. This, in fact, happened in Enoch. Enoch was allowed to sit on the divine throne, and this transformed Enoch into a divine angel known as Metatron. And Metatron actually becomes the angel of the throne. Again, you can ask yourself, like, how can a lowly human being sit on the throne of God? Well, that's nurture. So, let's just make it shocking. Further, even more shocking, you can have a vision of the divine body. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, God doesn't have a body. One of the things that he gives and teaches is God doesn't have a body. Well, kind of. God in the literature does have a body, and body can be measured. God, and typically this form of the subform of Merkabah literature is called Ishma, which in Hebrew or Aramaic means something like the measurement of the body or the measurement of the measurement of the height. And so what happens in literature is that you get a glimpse of God, and you are allowed to measure the body of God and meditate on the dimension of the divine body. I'll show you what it looks like in just a moment. This form of mysticism is what we have often are phenomenological reports, which is say we have the mystics who actually give us a report of what they experienced. We have advice from other mystics telling other mystics how to do this and how not to do this, with mystical advice entering into this, including some idea of the kind of technique that they can use in order to induce vision. There's also a great deal of literary flair. These documents are very well written. They are intentionally trying to be perhaps provocative. And what we get in these documents is a really fascinating glimpse of how they may have practiced. Also, it's worth pointing out at this point that, for whatever reason, there's still debate about this. For these mystics, for the Merkabah mystics, you don't ascend to the palace of God. You descend, right? You are a Merkabah. You descend to the chariot. Now, why they descend to the chariot, we don't know, right? It seems like you should go up, right? God lives beyond the stars, up things like the hours of the right? You're on the right, the one, right? You should go up toward the divine world. The mystics never describe going in that direction. You always descend into the chariot. Why that, we don't know. I typically think that it might have to do with a kind of habit of right? Unworthy of ascent, maybe able to descend. There's a Bible, sometimes the word barach, right, to bless, can also mean to curse, use a mystic way. For instance, Job's wife, Job, to bless God and die. But what he really means is to curse God and in translation, always curse God, because the word there is being used in a kind of usual way. That means that you descend to the throne as opposed to angels. You don't know why. They just describe it as a descent. Just to give you some idea of the main text of the American literature, along with the vision of Isaiah and the vision of Ezekiel. Those become the groundwork for the kind of later growth in literature. The two principal texts of this literature are the Hechalot, and this is the lesser palaces. This is considered to be typically the older of the older form of the American literature. It's a relatively short text. It has to do with the descent of Rabbi Akiva. We have the Hechalot Rabbah, which is the longest text of the Hechalot literature. This describes the descent of Rabbi Ishmael. Both of these rabbis lived in the Common Era. Another text that's also very popular was what are the accounts of the chariot. This is primarily executive poetry uttered by the descendants when they made the descent, largely Merkabah poetry. We also have the Sefer Hechalot, the Book of the Palaces, also known as the Third Enoch, and this has to do with the transmutation of Enoch into the angel Metatron, sitting on the throne of God. What's also worth pointing out is that in Third Enoch, you have perhaps one of the most provocative ideas in all of Jewish mysticism, which is that Enoch transformed into Metatron, but that Metatron describes the Yahweh Tanakh, the little Yahweh, right? You have the Yahweh Adol with Yahweh Katan, the little God. Now, the idea that there can be two gods is going to prove to be very, very dangerous and heretical idea in Judaism. But this idea was in the air during the Merkabah mystics. So even Merkabah mysticism at some level challenged straightforward ideas of monotheism, which to be sacrificed in Judaism, but in Enoch and other texts, the idea of unified monotheism is disruptive. There are some ideas that even the Trinity may have emerged, some of may have emerged in conversation with some of this idea that there's a greater God, a lower God, and things like that. So, and I guess to make about Judaism disrupted by some of these ideas, one of which is that yes, a lesser Yahweh, and that idea is God. And again, also I mentioned this text, Shiur Koma, and Shiur Koma is a separate piece of literature, which, as I mentioned, right, describes various of the divine body version unit called parasite. Talk more about that in just a minute. I'll give you an example of what that looks like, not from the Shiur Koma. This mysticism seems to have hit its impact right around the time in the middle of this and the 150, 160. Now, why? I don't know. Why that time period? That's the direct path, or right at the time period of the Bar Kokhba rebellion. As you may know, Rabbi Akiva was martyred during the Bar Kokhba rebellion. Rabbi Ishmael was lived around the same time. Why is that? Well, perhaps people were very desperate. People wanted to have, people felt very offended by God, and so these techniques were sending into the throne room of God, allowing us to connect with God in a new way. Not clear that that's when the form of mysticism in fact, although it's been practiced all the way, and there are Hechalot texts that are actually absorbed into Kabbalah. So Kabbalah will absorb a lot of these texts, and they will survive into the scripture. Just FYI, we have about 50 manuscripts that survive from antiquity back to Giza. So we have a lot of this, right? A lot of this. Again, typically, right? We take whatever survives, and that gives us manuscripts. Not enough, right? No, they're not all complete. They're not all in great shape, but the fact that manuscripts that survive, some of which survived all the way from Palestine or Babylon, were moved back more than the European country. That shows literature being appreciated, being admired, but it's fascinating about manuscript. I think that the way this literature is now, most literature, by the way, also mentions in Aramaic, not in Hebrew, which means that it was is, or in other words, that being experience, right? These people are having experiences, they're recording those experiences. Those experiences are what we call microforms. They're just very small snippets of discrete mental experiences. And it seems like there are schools of having these experiences. I might go to the first seven, you might go to the fourth seven, right? I might go to the first one, you might go to the second chamber of the fourth seven. And over time, what ends up happening is that all of these various microforms stick together for macroforms, much longer documents, which mirrors and kind of stitched into these microforms that form these larger narratives. At some point, it's systematized. You can see the systematization process happening in some of these, where the various palaces are very systematically described, having various kinds of chambers with various kinds of angels, and we know how many angels are there, how many serve. They're organized pretty much like an army. In fact, they're organized pretty much like the Roman army. A lot of things about that. The writers of the text are imagining a kind of powerful army higher in divine realms, and it mirrors, let's say, the Roman army, which, by the way, also takes because the Romans only experienced in a time period. So what we say about these microforms, right, which are probably the result of mystical experiences that are stitched together in schools of mysticism, and then those are in a more literary way, and the text now are the final literary forms in the form of the Hebrew or the Rabati. So we're fairly confident, the leading scholars in mysticism are fairly confident that these literatures have some stream of actual mystical experiences held in various schools of mysticism that are produced in a literary way over the course perhaps of several centuries. And as I mentioned, what we have in this literature are accounts of heavenly journeys, or accounts of journeys to the divine realm, and in these texts we have very complicated passcodes. So many of these passcodes are angelic names. Understand, they're very long strings of characters. We don't know what these names mean. They don't look like angelic names. And to have these angelic names, right, you would descend into a palace. There would be an angel guarding the door. You would address that angel by their name. The fact that you use that angelic name meant that they might let you into the room, and then you get passed to another level, right? And then you would encounter several other angels. And then you would know various kinds of secret codes or like foreign espionage or something. You would need to know some secret codes, and eventually an enormous mass of literature developed of just codes of various angels, where they live in the divine realm, how to bypass them. You might need to bring them. You might not be enough to know the name. You might have to bring them things, give them seals, or use them for various quasi-magical devices. But next week we're getting into Jewish magic and these angelic seals, these angelic magical codes. And what you would do is you would bypass these very fearsome angelic guardians, and you would have visions of various aspects of the divine world. This would almost result in a mystical vision, and the stream of that mystical vision would be a poem, right, describing what you saw. So most of the literature is sections describing structure, lots of passcodes and angelic names, and then hymns, right? Describing what they saw, what they experienced. So there's a lot of hymns and things in this. By the way, actually survived into the Orthodox liturgy, especially for the holidays. If you've ever been to a Rosh in the traditional liturgy, there are survivals of these hymns, these Merkava hymns in there. You may be thinking, why? Right? Think about what happens when you are literally at the gate of the divine palace in your prayer, entering the gate of the divine palace, and it has a Merkava feel to it, if you want to frame it that way. I think would be a cool way of framing one's experience approaching the gate of the divine realm. Kind of being threatened, right? It's terrifying. God can judge you. God can kill you. God can destroy you. So it has a very kind of to it. Both of those things. Most famous example of one of these hymns, famous example of one of these stories that we have is the account for and the Babylonian Talmud, and actually found in several other places earlier. But typically the most famous version found in Talmud. Holiday. What we have here is an account of 4 different rabbis from the second century going into what is called the Pardes. The Pardes is the orchard outside of the temple, right, or outside of the palace. You can imagine like the garden of God. They go into the garden, and what ends up happening is that Rabbi Akiva, who's a very typical hero in this form of mysticism, warns that they're going to go into the garden, they're going to see an illusion, right? They're going to see pure marble, but it's going to look like water. And when you see the illusion of the marble, do not say it's water, because you can't be wrong, right? It's a kind of even like a booby trap or something that will weed out weak or weed out righteous when they enter into the palace. Now again, already he's been experienced seeing it, thinking to himself, maybe it's water. No, it's not. It's actually pure marble. And if he would have gotten it wrong, he could have suffered this fate going up as well. Well, what we're told is that 4 of them go into the Pardes, and only 3 of them, or only one of them really emerges. One of them dies, right? One of them just looks at water, and dies. And yet, one goes insane. In fact, the phrase in Aramaic is he went outside. Ben Zoma was outside. And we have other accounts in Talmud where Ben Zoma doesn't behave normally after the situation where one of the teachers come near him. If you're supposed to stand up when one of your teachers come near you, and Ben Zoma, what's wrong with Ben Zoma? He's out. Right? And the idea is he never came back. He's had some kind of internal mental trauma and never returned from this experience. Even worse is the court fate of Elisha ben Abuya. Elisha ben Abuya is a very famous rabbi tree. What is happening is that Abuya actually bypassed the water in the room of God. He was a very mystic. He was able to make it all the way to the throne room of God. But when he sees there to serve him, he sees a being sitting on the throne of God. Now, when I said no, we know that there is no forward, there is no backward, there is no up, there is sitting in God. God doesn't sit down, right? None of you know from Isaiah about God. So Elisha sees this being, Metatron, this angel, sitting in front of God. What does it declare? There are 2 powers. There are 2 gods in heaven, right? There's these 2 beings. Well, when there's 2 beings in business, for the rabbis, at least, the most catastrophic procedure. The phrase is usually an issue that this becomes a euphemism for committing heresy. And all of the stories about Elisha, any of which were versus the other one. They don't even name him anymore. He's become such a heretic. There are all kinds of stories in the literature where the Oscar, Elisha ben Abuya, doesn't even try to perform the law anymore. So he knows that never going to come back to the God, smoke, rose up the grave. He's already being punished. And he was punished already. But in the Talmud is that there are these angels that sort of Metatron that punish sitting on the bill, right? He lashes, and the phrase for the lashes is a Torah, lashes of fire. And the second lashes of fire tends to become a form of Buddhist later on. And we'll get to it next week. Talk about it. There's enough you can actually call death to them, and if there is a significant amount you can heal, right? for the first time they have this fiery lash angel, Metatron with fiery lashes. Real. You have a lot of drama in all this, right? An angel, another angel, and a lot of stuff going on here. By the way, that idea that the two gods have more even idea in Enoch, or the idea that Metatron is, or Enoch is transformed into an angel that is sometimes referred to as the Lord God, Lord. And again, it's clear the rabbis about this whole business, and again, Talmud and reaction to it, although it's that Rabbi Akiva, perhaps one of the most famous rabbis, but still, kind of shaman, he's taking a journey along the way, although his warnings are pretty unheeded and people going crazy time. Perhaps most history of America think in a real way he knew a guy who years ago was wrapping up pretty clear reference to some American literature or some American practice. And so Paul himself, right? So he said I know a guy, he's almost referring to himself. Like Paul, there have been some kind of American practitioner, maybe right on the road, experience, right? Paul is very things, doing research, made himself a practitioner of this form of system, and perhaps if famous powers of heaven, it's not unsurprising that Paul, perhaps what he's seeing, the resurrected Jesus, was also a kind of God, right? We have two gods, right? We have Jesus, divine Jesus, we have the Father, right? That's two powers. How would you call it? Well, this idea of powers of heaven already at some level entered into Judaism, that when we see the notions of the Christ could be God, the Father could be God, this idea is not so out of how possible, right? Now, I say possible, I don't say acceptable. Rabbi, it's really a problem, but we'll have to right? At least in the house. Now, as I mentioned, perhaps most shocking, most shocking form of to emerge Judaism of the issue or Qumran. There are some accounts where the vision of the divine throne happening prayer. Utter an ecstatic, you give the vision, utter an ecstatic, prayer song, something of the divine throne in your form into an angel. By the way, one's always about being transformed into what he calls a somatic, right? A spiritual body. That when you are believing in Christ, you will be transformed body. And transformed to Judaism will just take the direction that would have been alarming physical time. But something like that also happens in American literature where your body transforms into a spiritual body, and that's what happens to Enoch. Another version of what the final outcome of all this is measured divine body, the ability to measure the body in a thing called the parasite. Now, they think the song, but the typical use of measurement in the Israelite world was the key. As you may know, right? If you would get from the tip of your elbow to the tip of your finger, right, and you measured the cubit, and that became the individual cubits selection. The song was a much larger unit of measurement, and it was about, we would say, about 3.5 miles, right? About 3.5 miles. What we get in the or Qumran literature are measurements of the divine body, along with the mystical or perhaps magical names of various parts of God's body. So we produce here a translation from the or Qumran, right eye, right? You got the name of God's right eye, we got the other name of God's left eye. Now, you might be curious about why we have it spelled A-Z-R-Y-Y-A. That's because it'll be Aleph, Zion, Resh, Yod, Yod, right? Now, you might be asking, why did you translate it out? The simple answer is, I have no idea what these words mean. They're not Hebrew words, not Aramaic words. There's some kind of unusual that we're not with. That is that next week we begin to talk about Jewish magic, and something very similar happening with Jewish magic. It's going to be long strings of words, aren't Greek, not Hebrew, but they're said to have magical power. And these acronomians, holy words, they're going to have magical power already. Long strings of these characters, no one knows what they mean. People work hard to try to figure out what they mean, and sometimes they do find out kind of what they might mean, but it's English. We have God's left and right eye. We have them named here. We have here a couple different names within the different manuscripts, right? We have left eye, right, this, and fourth issue from the right eye is light to all creatures. We now know that light emerges from God's eyes, and that is where light comes from. It comes from the eyes of God. We have the white of God's eye, right? The white part of your eye, the name grit. And so we also have the measurement, right? So the white of God's eye measures 10,002 powers. That's a huge one. So you can figure out how big God's eye is. But you're talking about tens of thousands of powers long. If you do the math right, you're getting tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of miles. That's how big God's eye is said to be. The distance between God's right shoulder and God's left shoulder is 16,000, 10,000 parasons. So again, an enormous number. The right shoulder has a name, the left shoulder has a name, it also has a name, right? The text goes on and on and on like this. God's beard, I think, is 10,000 or something parasons long. The distance between God's eyebrows given, or between God's nostrils is given, the distance between God's fingers, which are long, are actually given as well. I taught that Jewish class at our college once, which is great. Weird, it's great. But one of the things that one of the students did after to go into the time program and actually mapped out what God's eye looks like. It was weird. God is really, really big. God's arms are kind of weirdly short, and God's fingers are really, really long. God's trunk is short, God's legs are really long. You get this really crazy looking creature. I think about what the image that the guy came up with, but what he did was pile every single one and tried to that God, God's eyes are really big, right? Really big. And shot it up right here in this sort of like a gray alien. It kind of looks like that, right? Of course, that's in the middle of all the alien. It is so we have this. By the way, this goes on, right? For all kinds of dimensions of God's body. Now, when this literature was published back in, we don't know much, but when it came into the Middle Ages, one of the people that's reading this and thinking to themselves, is my honor. There's a great argument. I just reflect. Never had what's the right word? The pleasure or the punishment of having to read the God's text, right? This is likely to protect you and help you. One of the things that's true about it is that one of the main pieces of the God's text is a God's body. And that what Maimonides does for the vast majority of that book is spend time going through every single metaphor of God's body, God's hand, God's eyes, God's legs, God's hair, whatever. And Maimonides goes through every single time the Bible describes God's body and shows that it's not to be taken literally, it's to be taken metaphorically. It's possible, I think likely, Menachem Milner has written a book about this, where Menachem Milner argues that it's at least hard most important of Jewish philosophy ever written was written in that Merkabah system and geoeconomics. Now that's high praise, right? There's no higher form of praise. Pretty or people are criticizing you. I mean, the level that they you. It seems Maimonides in part is writing guides reflect argument against this form of mysticism. And what's worth pointing out here, right? What's really worth pointing out here is that this form of mysticism lasts longer. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Now, I want to mention one tiny last form of mysticism that represents a relatively small chunk of this form of mysticism, and it's called the third form of mysticism. It's a distinct form of Merkabah mysticism. In fact, it might not even be Merkabah mysticism at all. It may be cross the line over to magic, but it's always recorded in Merkabah text. There'll be a Merkabah text, and all of a sudden there'll be a chunk of text like a Merkabah text, and this literature we typically refer to as Torah mysticism. Torah mysticism is unlike the Merkabah mysticism where you descend into the divine realm to learn different kinds of secrets. In the Torah mysticism, you actually summon an angel. And you summon an angel through quasi-mystical or magical means, the blind myth is rather blurry, and you summon that angel, and that angel is called the Torah. Torah means prince of the Torah. And this special angel comes to you. Notice here again, we're doing something different. Rather than going to somewhere, we're bringing a being to us. And what is happening is that the Torah comes to you, and the Torah teaches you rapidly. Teaches you all kinds of rabbinical lore, everything from rabbinical law way to various kinds of secrets. So the mechanism by which you summon your period of disorder, summon this angel, but this is a kind of indication, and many scholars look a lot. It's not about you having an experience, but it looks a lot more like magic. Summoning being, he provides you something. Summoning, like you might be a demon to teach you something. Here, an angel does the job of crafting or. Now, what's important about that is that idea of using magic to turn things very effectively by medieval period, higher school of military arts would be just this. You're not typically summon an angel to do it, but it's we already have a form of mystical, magical stuff going on by the time of the Merkabah literature, where you are summoning an angel to learn rabbinical lore, and you have rabbinical lore appreciate by have to learn it. So this Sartor literature, as I said, right, crosses the line probably into Jewish magic. And that's what we're going to pick up next. We're going to begin to pick up with the earliest layers of Jewish magic, with the Israelites know about magic, the rabbis know about magic, and we're going to look at that entered into Judaism and thrived all the way. It's worth pointing out that the Merkabah of mysticism would be the dominant form of or majority Jewish history. 740 Jewish history. We think Kabbalah as being the dominant Jewish. Kabbalah is only about 800 years old. If you take the family, you can have sometime in the history, that's only 800 years old. This form of mysticism has existed all the way back probably to the second century, probably earlier, and still being practiced really, right? All the way up to the rise of Kabbalah. Kabbalah worked a lot of this mysticism in it. So when you want to think about Jewish mysticism in terms of what got practiced the longest, Merkabah, the actual was far longer, at least at this point, than Kabbalah. Clearly, for 800 years. It's only 800 years of truth, right? But Greeks arrived in 1000. So, only a couple hundred years. Kabbalah, laugh, right? We'll laugh it. You want some suggested readings? I'm going to conclude. Go on. I'll need to think about literature. These are for study of the rapid with about prayer is it all for the grill, so you need to be a library later for me to about that we want to read about. But I'm excited here for various studies literature itself, but also like some and so like to I can jump out with answers. I can jump out a couple of folks you can figure out measure this or American population. So now this week, right, we have a bridge. That bridge is going to connect us to Jewish magic. I'm talking about the connection with Jewish magic. We now have a bridge to Jewish magic. And Jewish magic is going to be a huge part of Jewish business. In fact, talk about Kabbalah Ma'asit, right? Kabbalah Ma'asit is just Kabbalah, doing of Kabbalah, practical, is in fact the code system level for Jewish magic. It's just that topic that we will turn to on Wednesday. Really not like 3 days from now. We'll turn to that on Wednesday with Jewish magic. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me as I explore more Jewish magic. Again, if you'd like to support my work, I'm providing the full free and scholarly content on topics, Kabbalah, alchemy, and the cult of magic philosophy through my work on Patreon, or perhaps the one-time donation. You can see those links below. I'm Dr. Justin Fletch, where we explore in history, philosophy, and religion. I'm Dr. Justin Fletch, and welcome to Mesoamerica, where we explore the arts, history, philosophy, and religion. One of the most difficult aspects of art
always, every episode, by the way, he's in a different character. We never know what he's on. Then, you know, maybe it'll be a character that we've seen before, maybe a brand new character. Ladies and gentlemen, I great Jeremiah Watkins, Tony Nash. Standing over. This is Buck Brown. Mike. Never been here before. Oh, it's awesome. Well, I'm glad you brought your. I love it. You look fucking fantastic. Buck Brown, if you make that like that, right? I know what that means. You can't fly up and out. You know, Jayhawk isn't even a real animal, by the way. I found this doing research on this area. The famous school here is in KU, right? The big basketball team, the Jayhawks. I'm like, what the fuck? Jack it up. Mascots only, bitch. Like, what? Why would you do that? Big animal. All right. Anyway, so we have yes. What? Never mind. I didn't hear you. I'll try to investigate as well. I told you you had to understand anything I say. I really can. I think it might be the monitor. Is it clear to you guys out there? Everything is, right? That's what it is. Anyway, but we'll get through it. I'll just nod yes, and I'll just tag the I think you make over there throughout the episode. I have a bucket of destiny here, everybody. We have Doc Brown, Red Man, and the glorious bucket of destiny. A long, a real fucking thick bucket. 3 or 4 pages. It's a lot. 70, 80, 90 range. So what fucking happened? How many people signed up tonight for their very first time to do something? There's a lot of them out there. A lot of that on the road lately. Oh, hello, Steve. Her with you open like a second. Yeah, no, wow. Look at you, little fun pants over there. How many people signed up that are comics that have you? Yeah. Hell yeah. Raise his hand. Super cool. The way he's funny. Many people never raise their hand for shit. Hell yeah. If I pull your name out of the bucket, you get 6 seconds on this stage of comedy, or really try to do anything. At the end of this second, you'll know your time is up when you hear the sound of a kid. That means wrap it up then, or we're going to bring out the angry Missy P's bear. The right reference? Hell yeah. There we go. We nailed it. I'll let you know if I pull your name out. The only entrance way possible is over there. Really? Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Or 2 ramps on either side. You gotta go to those. I'm trying to climb over. Buck Brown, you ready for this shit? Let's do it. All right, audience. So you ready? Things can happen. Bucket has spoken in your first meeting, getting an uninterrupted 60 seconds and being interviewed by us by the name of Craig Compton. Craig Compton will start tonight's show. Going the wrong way. Oh yeah, I like this approach. All the way to the you want to go to the front, you come go to the back. Time. You know what I mean? This brought his Piccolo ball. Time for Craig Compton. 90% of raps that's homosexual. I haven't picked that song yet. I want to show it off too. All right. But Because it's a nerve-wracking, right? So 50% of orangutans walk around with broken bone because they fall from fucking trees. So if you wonder why our president walks around with them, I think anyone else on that game? Lex Rose? Okay. Who's Zach Rose next? All right. The one side effect of Lex Rose had you overuse sperm. Another side effect of Lex Rose that you have suicidal thinking. So I made a. Wow. Yeah. How you doing, buddy? Okay. Do I recognize you from the hit show Battle Finish? On Netflix. Watch it.
Now can I rewrite that?
True. First ever performing on the microphone. Yes. Congratulations. Very good. Thank you. It is the first time. Thank you. Really, you drove here from Tampa Bay for this show. Wichita, Kansas. From where? Wichita. Wichita, Kansas. Yes, 2.5 hours down. 2.5 hours down. That's your first time using the word orangutan. Yeah. I practiced it. That's the reason. Well, the orangutan doesn't come from the tree. Are you on? Is that what you? Yeah. That was more Lex, but amateur. Yeah. Thank you. What do you take Lex for? Just regular class. Crush. Oh, okay. Fuck yeah. How long have you been? What? Before? No, I feel like every time I say broke. But how old are you? 26. 26. Don't look at me over 40. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Look like the street pride parade. Anyway, what do you do for work? I am an analyst at a company. An analyst? Analyst. Okay, I thought that's why you did all that fucking horrible animal. Animalist. An analyst at a construction company. Yeah. What do you analyze? Calling women as they walk by. Hey, yo, money! What are you analyzing? Money. And how people say, wow. I know, yeah. So interesting. You're one of my favorite characters on Bloodline. I can't believe you're doing yourself. People get to love it. Drunk brother. He also always keeps the finger look. Show. Great show. Yeah, right. A while. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. That, how long have you done Alexa before? I feel like this interview was 2 years. Well, maybe it is. It's like I just motherfucker. You want to talk about Lex, bro? I want to talk about it here. Let me ask you this. Did you go through a break in about 2.5, 3 years? Yeah. Shit. Solve a fucking problem. Over tonight, huh? Alright. You need scissors, a razor, shaving cream, and last time you've been on the team. years. 3 weeks ago. How'd it go? Broke up there on the first day. You know what? On the first, I think we should chill people right now. Yeah. Why'd you bring it up? Wasn't into it. Had other things to do. Other things to do? You just said? Yeah. Like what? I just bought a Porsche and I'm just like fucking everyone. So, hey, yeah. Car? Oh, nice. Good for you. I'm renting it out on Turo, which is like Airbnb for cars. Porsche. Somebody have it right now? Yeah. plastic cover. It's really plastic covered. I mean, it's by Rothschild. Brandon, for I'm gonna have to break up with her. They're nice and still resistant to broken. I would have to be rented out about it. And it happened 3 weeks ago. We're still in the renovation. Renovation? Oh, what kind of renovations are you going through? Putting it on Lexapro? Yeah. Basically. Yeah. Man, any fun facts I should know about you? Thing about you, like any hobby or anything like that. Or let me ask what I sort of about this. Let's talk more about this broken heart. So it's not long. She and it drive, right? She already had another guy, trainer or something like that, or her boss. But she did have another guy on that broke your heart. Like you never recovered. You do anything to try to help yourself other than take Lexapro? Like, do you do anything to help your heart, your mind? Think you'll ever have people in love like you were with again? Honest, but the more honest your answer, the better. Do you think that you'll fall in love with someone that much as of right now? We all know the answer, but we're interested to know what you think right now. Ever think you'll love someone as much as you love her? No. Beautiful answer. Because I'm just like, I'm on it, like, you know what? Yeah. If you've ever been, that's all that fucking matters. Keep renovating that Porsche. I'm telling you, if you ever see around a Porsche beautifully masturbating, you can saw him here on Milton, which is why my book about Lexapro called Broke. Oh, you really wanted to finish that joke, huh? That's a shame. You got laughing. You're like, wait till the end of this. Ryan. You don't just laugh like that. You trying to go back to the future, Doc? What do you think about that? How about another hand? You got it started tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Great bye. I like that. Craig on Twitter. Yeah, just take Jayhawk off 7. It's the starting of 5. Take the trunk of block for beat up. Anyway, all right, pull another name from the bucket. Make a noise for your next comedian, Jeff Kelly. Jeff Kelly, everyone. Here he comes. He's got a good stride. Solid and steady. Arms up in the air. He's excited about this. Just walking to him. Here he comes. One more time for Jeff Kelly. Getting old. I don't like it. Not every morning. Go to the bathroom and shower. And I go, shit. He said, you can move everything, brain, and your pain. And I tried, and I was like, man, like, my legs work, my arms work, my head works, my neck works, and like, nothing. Sucks getting old. You know what I mean? Look at that. 15 seconds. let it be slammed with a hard pumping. Fuck yeah. Like, absolutely. How long have you been coaching soccer? Hell yeah. Style. Stand up? How about a hand for Jeff Kelly? You know that here on the yeah, my God.
Former.
Wow, you're so good, you fucking over here.
Oh no.
How are you? You got divorced from the lady that you were with?
I navigated my way through like getting married and never having kids.
But you did date a woman that had kids for a while?
Oh, absolutely. It's horrible.
Heck yeah.
You can't love somebody else on about it. You got this yours, and I'm like,
You have a new my how it goes.
that's
Never been hated women that have kids. What I've learned is you can't love someone else. That's clear. You said it. Son of a bitch. You don't even know what's funny. And then you, at the end of that, you just go, oh, baby. And the place goes,
as soon as I gotta be on this write that shit down.
absolutely. With one hand tied behind your back, crossing your finger. I'm gonna write that down, are you? Tell us more about you. What do you do?
I make barbecue and steak.
You make barbecue. You have what is the place that you like to mention? Or like a shout out?
That's
I don't want to start a gang war or anything. A little dry rub right now is jams.
my bad.
Barbecue chips, everybody. We're motherfucking hands. Oh, the spotlight for a barbecue reference.
The only thing I can tell you work at the barbecue restaurant.
Why don't you drop his name right now? It's getting hard. I mean, you can't
Never know.
hear for his job right now. Now it's no. These are all these quality kids and a big plug.
I spoke to me.
This is what I fucking getting ovation. Like Brown knows about your barbecue. Fuck yeah. Heck yeah. Wow, you're smoking the meat. Huh?
You're welcome.
Wow.
Guess who's taking up for the show tonight?
Yeah. That's not cold. Fuck yeah. Can't get hard anymore, huh?
No, it's not true.
Yeah, you're just having trouble with it.
Oh, you get to visit the book. I don't have.
Isn't it weird that it's harder, yet get harder at the same time?
Sometimes just on describe the Saturday.
We're just on like a dog when it gets harder. That like go the other direction.
Every day.
Every
No, you're kidding. No, everything's fine. I was just those.
Sure, we know how those look for you.
Also, anybody wants to drop it over back to the page, maybe put all down below.
Whoa! What else? What do you like to do for fun? You're not. Like, kind of got to go cards backwards or something like that.
I have a collection of cards.
Okay, answer the question on it. He's trying to learn it right now live in front of everybody. Yes, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I do race go cards back and forth.
Club. I don't really on that work much.
Work much. What about after work? What do you do after work?
Drink.
Yeah, what do you drink a lot? Drink with your crew?
I like.
here with.
I like to smoke marijuana.
Oh my God, what the fuck is happening? You smoke a lot of pot? You've been doing that a while? Not legal here, correct?
Not a while, actually. I've only smoking for about 3 months.
It's that talking. Shut the fuck up. Open hand flat policy for anyone you see just randomly talking loud.
I'm not understanding, so I
This around a little bit permissible. Jeff, how old are you?
I'm 45. I'm the oldest.
And how long is stand-up something you've always wanted to do?
No, I love stand-up comedy, man. I always have. I was a little kid living in Olathe, Kansas, going to the store to get a Murphy Rob. That's when I was like 14. And the
God, you really are old as fuck.
I know.
All right. Well, Jeff, I'll tell you this. You're a fucking local legend.
Not really.
Yeah. Place went crazy when you said what you've been doing, what you've been like. It's like you're really great. Where they go fucking stuff. And have you on. I'm dude. Jeff Kelly, everybody. Hell yeah. He's doing this Oh, Kansas. Well, in Kansas, how about that, huh? Dust in the wind. I pulled the name out of the bucket. Nice in Carl Finlay. Double K. Carl Finlay. Got a nice ride, a nice city. How many of you like the comedians on the show? How many of you like the comedians back? I present to you Carlton Kinley. What up, Lauren? God damn, there's not a. Me too. I had my first concert here. I was just sitting right fucking there. Actually, I was standing for a band called Mastodon. They are a. There we go. People that were at that show, I can tell it from you. Actually, that was one of the first times I had ever gotten an eye infection. The bassist, I believe, was like laying right above me. I literally watched the piece of sweat like fall from his beard, hit me directly in the eye, and I didn't go to school for the rest of the week. So I was kind of sick, but I have the memories every time I smell this place. I come back here and see shows all the time. I'm a former alumni of the University of Kansas. Got the tattoo right here. Did that at 3 a.m. on spring break, so I was definitely in my right mind. That's actually a lie. It's actually my name is Carl Kinley, and I needed to get the third K in there somehow just to show my allegiance. There you go. Carl Kinley. Dropping a little racism there at the end. Yeah. So, Carl, grab that microphone. I've never seen a full-size picture baby before. State Highway Patrolman. Like, yeah. Everyone on the show part, I believe, has been wearing khaki shorts. Yeah. Like regular old people. Old Navy. The hell else are you supposed to wear in shooting camps? We do. Yeah. Carlton Kinley, first time doing stand-up? No, this is probably like my 15th time ever. Sure. Everybody else, hand in their pocket, nervous. Oh, what the hell is that? Wait, what the hell? What? Ah, Jesus. Oh, God. Here. How much Mayo energy, caffeine, and B vitamins? Have that shit 18 servings in this bottle. And why the fuck would you bring 18 servings of energy drink? Jesus Christ. Fight together. Oh my God. Imagine if somebody just had 18 bread fall out of their pocket. What that is. Why do you carry so much portable energy around? You never know. No, you never know. No. Yeah. No. So, like, have you had any of that today? No, actually, I haven't. You just keep 18 servings of. No, what? Talking about? What do you use that for? So, like, what would you use that for? We need a little bit.
Brandon.
Yeah.
Hey, Big Dog. Is there any way on that account that you're using right now you could change the profile picture?
What account?
That one, the brown one. That you can do anything. That one. Can you make that one the American flag or something?
The American flag?
Or anything else? Make it the mirror, make it a dog, make it whatever you want. A Baltimore Raven, whatever you want.
I'm trying to change that.
Excellent, my friend. Take your time. I really appreciate it.
What about the cat?
The,
The cat.
the cat's fine.
I got this one. I'm out there. What? Wait, no.
Did it go?
Let's see. I'm gonna find you right now.
Take your time.
There you go.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you. I love Michael Jackson. Thank you.
You're welcome. But Baltimore Ravens went in here a lot.
I love it. Almost, man. Practice is going to start in 2 months. That's how it happens, my man.
I can't believe my team is starting back up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you, my friend, are gonna hopefully be a very happy fan because they will.
Yeah, why?
Because they're gonna hopefully be good this year.
Yep. I think they'll be good this year. I think when they got new player, and now I got we get. I'm trying to win the ring to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not praying on Twitch. But who's been serving here? He's trying to get that team to go, to bring a ring, to go to the Super Bowl.
Very cool.
Like,
There you go, big dog.
and yeah,
There you
I'm trying to get everybody to put boots for Ravens.
I think everybody is, my man.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is a rumor I heard. I don't know if it's true, but Lamar Jackson was no longer with the Ravens.
Lamar Jackson's the quarterback.
Well, I heard rumors that hey, Lamar Jackson is no longer with the Ravens.
It's, it's their best player.
That's the one somebody has said. And what he could said, they playoffs him and it's a third star camera.
Okay. Yeah, he's still the quarterback, but he may have some issues because of his contract.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's camera on my end. I said third star camera.
Can you hit the button that says refresh?
I hit try again. And it's a third star camera.
Okay, on your end, hit the refresh button, and then try it again.
I'm the corner on my phone.
Oh, that's probably why.
I'm not delivery rejoin.
Okay, do it and see if it works.
I'll be right back.
Okie doke.
It's circling. It's circling.
It could just be because
It's circling.
it could just be because it's on your phone, and phones aren't as powerful as computers. Okay, no big deal. I'm sure it's working on your computer. Go look at your computer.
It's working. Oh, it's working on my computer.
There you go. So it's just something with your phone.
It's still with my phone.
Most likely.
Yeah.
All right, big dog. I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back.
All right.